All right, so we get the Toronto Anticapitalist coffee shop with the pay what you can model closing after 1 year of business. This was from the Publica there, written by Sydney. A self-styled anti-capitalist coffee shop in Toronto has announced it will close its doors at the end of the month. I think she'll be back very soon here. The Anarchist Café, owned by Gabriel Sims-Fewer, announced on the shop's website that and Instagram that the business will close on May 30th after only 1 year of operation. Oh, poor little thing. It's closing down already. It's been an amazing experience connecting with so many great community members, sparking desperately needed debates, raising the blood pressure of conservatives, that includes you, anarcho-capitalists, and libertarians. I don't think that's raising my blood pressure, but that's fine. Are you back?
I think so.
Yeah, we're good now. But yeah, fulfilling the dreams of most service workers by not having to tolerate the presence of professional class traders, pigs, and military, and experimenting with living and working in ways we don't enthusiastically embrace pure misanthropy and capitalism. Unfortunately, the lack of generational wealth, seed capital from ethically bankrupt sources left me unable to weather the quiet winter season. Why they're putting it that way is just incredibly weird. Or grow in the ways needed to be sustainable long term. Sims-Fewer goes on to thank the cafe's coffee supplier and landlords. Also thanks his family, friends for the partners with whom he claims he would be dead or unhoused. There we go with that word, unhoused. Homeless. Just say homeless. It's not bad.
You have to say unhoused now. Didn't you know? It is otherwise offensive. It's just so silly. I hate it here. I hate it here.
I made a video earlier today of something that I found where a morbidly obese woman was yelling at another woman. They were on a homeless committee or something like that, where she was yelling at another woman because she had spoken out against somebody that assaulted her in a manner of speaking. And assaulted kids in a manner of speaking. It was really, really messed up. But yeah, she was just people experiencing homeless, and I was just like, oh my god, y'all are just.
It's so silly to me. It's like, why do we have to why do we have to describe things using more words than necessary just to maybe make someone feel better? I don't know. Like, to me. I've been homeless before in my life, not like sleeping on the street homeless, but definitely really, really close to it, like couch hopping homeless, you know? And I was homeless as a kid too. And it's just like, bro, like I wasn't like, oh, I'm so horrible. And like, it didn't have all of these crazy like connotations with it. It was just like that. It is what it is. Like, I don't have my own place, man. I don't have anywhere to crash. Like, I got like 2 duffel bags and I'm just trucking it. Like, I don't know. It's just silly.
Well, it is a little bit of a thing. But it goes on at the end here. The statement ends with the rich, police, state, colonial death camp we call Canada. Yes, I do have a little soundboard and I'm playing with it. Okay.
I like the bleeps. I dig the bleeps.
I'm trying here. I'm trying. But I mean, all right. So the whole thing, we got a little video here. Let's just go ahead and just pay attention to this. This is dumb.
The Anarchist is a worker-owned, anti-capitalist, anti-colonial cafe, shop, and community space. Gabriel opened the space after leaving Vancouver due to its unwelcoming sense of classism. Though he never felt comfortable working in a coffee shop in BC, he knew if he were to have one of his own, it would have to adopt the values that occupy such a huge part of his life. A place devoted to radical leftist politics, revolution, ending capitalism, improving the world's economic system that benefits everyone and not just elites, and most importantly, sparking conversations that will help implement these ideas. Other than delicious coffee, which Gabriel is most definitely an expert in, the shop has a rich selection of progressive political books that he's selling at wholesale prices. I was happy to try some great light roast espresso here. I even tried my first espresso tonic, which is something of a micro revolution in itself. I highly recommend paying a visit to Gabriel at 190 Jarvis Street, if not for great coffee, for even greater conversation.
I have a question. How do you beat capitalism using a socialist framework by implementing capitalism?
Well, you know what's You know what's interesting is that, like, I don't know, there's like that saying, like, you can be a socialist living within a capitalistic system, but you can't be a capitalist within a socialist system. It's just so, like, the funniest part about that video is, like, we're gonna beat capitalism or whatever. It's like a short-lived battle there, my friend, because it just doesn't work when you. There was another store or like cafe, I think it was, somewhere else, where they had it like a just pay what you can type system, and they went under so fast because guess what? When you just tell people to pay what they can, they're gonna pay the absolute bare minimum, if anything, if you require anything from them. And that's just how people are. Like, nobody's gonna come in and just be like, I'm just gonna drop $100 just because I really like what you're doing. Like, maybe a few people here and there, but it's not a good business model. You're gonna go under so fast. You're not gonna be able to keep up with all of, I don't know, overhead and stuff like that. I'm bad with business jargon, but I try.
The thing about this whole business here is yes, it is a pay what you can kind of situation, but only for like their worst of the worst coffee. Everything else had a set price. But they used capitalism in their merchandise. Like, they had like bags and things for sale. Like, the bags cost maybe like $5 to make, and they were selling them for $35-$40. There was a hoodie for like $60 in there.
Well, yeah, it's funny because this guy's whole shtick was like, I hate having commodities. Like, the article says that it drives him crazy, but it's just something he has to do, and he said that he wanted to grow to a point that he could employ more people and then basically create like a co-op. Like, that's what it was. Yeah, like and they sell all kinds of other stuff, like the drinks, food, books, and stuff like that. Radical everything. It really reminds me of like somebody who watched SLC Punk but didn't make it to the end of the movie to learn the lesson. The whole vibe. Like, that's all I was getting.
I mean, just the whole fact that, all right, so you're going to set up a shop. The whole thing is, it's a business to make money, right? So you have to use capitalism to get your raw materials that you needed. Your coffee beans, your supplies, your equipment, everything like that. It all runs at a set price, but yet when you sit there and tell somebody, you just pay what you want whenever you want, how are you going to earn any money at all?
Yeah, well, and it again, it's just the worst business model, because what happens is it's really similar. Like, in a perfect world, people would pay what they are supposed to pay or whatever. But when you give people the option of like of not paying anything, they're gonna go with the not anything. And I think the shop also had like a policy where you could just go in and hang out. You didn't have to buy anything. Again, really bad for business. It just facilitates like people who just want to go somewhere and probably scam off your Wi-Fi and stuff like that, but you're not requiring them to pay. It's like businesses require patronage for a reason. It's not just a place to go hang out. Like, they're there to make money in the end, by providing whatever they provide. And if it's a cool place, people will just go and they'll pay whatever. That's the thing about capitalism, is like, yeah, are some people really greedy about it? Of course. That's just money.
A lot.
That's the name of the game with money. But the great thing is that if you offer enough value, people will pay whatever you're charging just to experience, whether that's a restaurant or a store or a theme park or anything, like, and we complain about it, but we pay it.
Well, I mean, I get the whole socialism aspect of, sharing resources to help everybody out. And in theory, it could work, but it only works when everybody does the exact same process. If one person starts to slack off, it starts to break down. And then people get mad because that person's slacking off, and then everybody else slacks off, and then everything just goes to, it goes to, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to have fun with this.
That's also the biggest flaw in the way that Americans look at systems such as like, you know, Norway or Sweden or stuff like that, where it is a bit more socialized over there. It's still not like that full system by any means, but we look at that and a lot of people will think, oh, look, they're doing so much better than we are and they're so great and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, you also have to compare everything else about that. And the fact is over there, the culture is much more oriented towards everybody pitches in and, you know, does their fair share. Here, the mindset of the people promoting socialism is tax everybody above this certain point as much as you possibly can, redistribute those assets downwards, and it's not the same type of mindset whatsoever. It's a lot more similar to, like, I don't know, like Venezuela, you know, where it's not comparable by any means. Plus, like, the size of the countries differ greatly. Theirs is much more homogenous, which automatically makes it easier to work together. When you're more homogenous, when everybody kind of believes the same things, when you're more similar than you are different, it's much more cohesive. Here, you know, strength is in diversity is the mantra, but the diversity also makes it difficult to work together. You have to learn how to build bridges a lot better, which we're not good at doing, clearly. But yeah,
No.
And that's just kind of some real surface level stuff in regards to socialism, anyway. But I'm gonna read the Communist Manifesto soon, so I'll get an in-depth look at the framework for that.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I got
You
a
haven't
couple
you haven't
of
read it
lists.
yet?
No, I haven't read the actual Communist Manifesto yet. I've listened to a lot of analyses of it, but I haven't flipped through it myself.
It's a little off-putting when you look
Yeah, I
at it,
bet.
and then you start realizing how it ties into our society as a whole, and you're just like, oh God, what's going on?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The Oblivion, what's going on? Oblivion's an old gaming friend of mine. It's been a minute, man. We need to sit back and play again. But,
Bro, we cannot even put up our own shopping carts. Did you see the meme that I posted on Twitter or something? Because I literally just posted a meme the other day with like the shopping cart thing is actually a really it's a fairly decent indicator of self-governance. Like if you can do the little things and hold yourself to it, then you're much better along than other people. But I posted a meme on Twitter and it was like, if you're too big to do the small things, you're too small to do the big things. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was funny.
you know I don't play around on Twitter. The only time I ever get on Twitter anymore is when you send me something or somebody sends me a link from there.
Yeah, I'm like your intel, your Twitter intel. Twittel.
There's no point in me going on there if I can't do anything, you know?
I mean,
I know.
just make
I know.
an account. It's not that big of a deal. It's like if you had, like, you know, thousands of followers, I would totally get not wanting to. But come on, just make a new one. Join me in the dumpster fire that is Twitter, because it is.
What? So I can just get banned again?
I don't know. I need to take a break from the Twitter for a few days, because there's a couple people on there that are just annoying the crap out of me. But of course, like, that's all I see in my feed for some reason, is like these few people who I'm just like, I'm so tired of hearing your
Because
bad
you
takes.
interact with them all day.
No. I mean, I interact, but yeah, no, they deliver, obviously, more of the stuff you're interacting with, too. Must reduce Twitter by 90%, so the same can be done for the federal government. Haha.
More than that. You have no clue.
Probably more than that.
Look, coming from somebody that used to be a military contractor, I can tell you why a hammer for the military cost $500. They buy the hammer for like $20, and then they got to ship that. There's a process beforehand, because the people actually have to price out what they need. They have to figure out what they need. They have to price it. They have to look for it. They have to find the best deals for it, even though you can go right down the road and buy the same hammer that they're going to give these people. There's a whole long process. Once it finally arrives, then you got shipping and handling. Then you have quality control to come in there and look at it and say, yeah, that's a hammer. Then you have to give it to the project that it's working on, pay the people that actually touch every single step along the way. Any person that even looks at this hammer gets paid from the hammer itself. So that's how a $20 hammer turns into $500. And it's disturbing. You have no clue how much we can actually get rid of from the federal government and still be fine.
Well, not to mention, like, I used to work at this place, okay? And they would just create jobs for people that worked there a really long time. Like, there was no need for that job, but they would just be like, you know, somebody would be like, I've worked here for like 10 years, man, and I've dedicated so much time to this, and and I want to get paid more, but you're not gonna give me a promotion or a raise, so like create a job for me. And like that kind of stuff would happen all the time. And so you'd have people just like, we're just gonna create this new position just for you so you can get paid more, and it's fair and it's legit. And that's the federal government.
Yeah, I mean that is 100% truth. But we got Unhoused makes it sound like there's a home somewhere waiting. There is, and it's your house. But yeah. No, it's what was that Illinois thing, the Safety Act, where you can't kick somebody out if they just move into your shed?
Oh yeah, you can't. No, so it was like you can't, the police can't do anything about a squatter, right? So it was like it basically put the burden onto the homeowner and was like, you have to just figure out how to deal with this. And I'm like, oh, and then when you actually do deal with it, then you're going to get prosecuted for a crime because, you know, typically you're going to have to use some force to get somebody off of your property who is squatting, who is probably unhinged and kind of crazy and maybe on drugs and all that fun stuff. And it's just like, yay, now homeowners are going to probably get penalized criminally for trying to get somebody off of their property that shouldn't be there.
Not to mention the fact that if somebody unalives another person, they can't go hunting that person for 48 hours. Which means they can flee the country before you can even pick up a pen.
You know what's really frustrating is, like, I live in Michigan, right? So Chicago isn't that far away. But it's so frustrating to me because, like, I love the aquarium and I love the museums there and it's super fun. But I'm not going to take my kids. Like, not any time with what's going on and all the laws and stuff. I'm like, dude, and it really actually disappoints me because I was like excited for that. Like, you know, like, oh, we'll be able to go to the aquarium and we can take the train and it'll be this big fun thing because we love doing the train thing. But it's just not in the cards anymore. I'm not willing to risk it, really. It's just so disappointing. It's like, man, come on. Why is everything gotta be so crazy?
Dave, what they fail to recognize is any word that you use to replace another word still means the same damn thing. Not really. Because they call men women and women birthing people.
Yeah, true that. But so this happens that happens with like offensive words a lot though. Is you'll have a word that is deemed offensive, right? But another word will just end up taking its place because the meaning, you'll just apply that same meaning to a different word that isn't as offensive, but it still denotes the same meaning. You know what I mean? Like, it's a phenomenon. Like, if you tell a kid not to say a certain word, they might still express the same sentiment that they were with the bad word with a different word, and then the new good word becomes a bad word. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. But I mean, homeless is not like an offensive kind of term. Unhoused,
no,
I find more offensive calling somebody unhoused than homeless. Because if you're unhoused, that means, well, to me, it just feels like you're unhoused because you don't want to do anything. Homeless means things happen along the way for you not to be able to be in a home.
I don't know.
That's the way it feels to me.
I think the mindset is that people, like, when you think of a homeless person, you do tend to think of like a bum on the side of the road, like, especially in like the big cities and stuff. A lot of people associate that with like drug use and stuff like that. And it's not, but it's because that there's a lot of people who are doing that. It's not because, like, I don't know. There's so many different, like, cases and reasons and things that people end up just, you don't have a place to go. Like, that happens all the time. But yeah, I think it's just another example of trying to control language. And when you control the language, you can control perception. And when you control, you know, it just goes down the line. It ends up being thought control, like a type of it anyway.
Yeah, when you control language, you control perception, like trying to say that the dude who was choked out on a subway was the victim.
Yeah. And it's very much like, let's reverse the roles of victim and like offender, and then, but it's in crazy
offender
crazy
is offensive,
ways.
and I take offense to that.
Self-analyze, guys.
There you go.
What you're offended by.
Thanks for watching this clip of the Off-Label Podcast. Look, we all hate to be told this, but just like me, everybody needs a reminder once in a while. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, you know, all that good jazz. Make sure this information keeps getting out there to people. We need to be able to start talking to each other once again in a good, healthy, conversational way.
I'll make it look like I'm